Hello, everyone. Welcome to a live stream. Hopefully, this one is not as chaotic and we have a decent bit rate all the way through and the replay is good. Fingers crossed. Hope you are. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what you've eaten for your breakfast or dinner, whatever. I don't mind. But yeah, as normal, get your questions in. I will come back to you. And I've already seen Pig Monkey talking about fish, chips, and mushy peas. Not too keen on the mushy peas, I will say that. But other than that, stuff around it, fish and chips works pretty nicely. Let me just play around with my thing again. Gonna move that down a bit. Been testing my bitrate for the last few weeks and it's doing my head in. Dropped it down to 9,000. Let's see if that works. Just want consistent levels. So let's get the screen on. Let's get the screen going. So if you've not yet done so, leave a like. That'd be nicely appreciated. Seems to be running nicely at 9,000, which is good. Fingers crossed it doesn't just zip out. Sometimes it just gets the spike and just goes, nope, not doing it. 2K quality streaming. 2K. Why do it 4K, mate? Want it as nice as possible. Anyways, I'm going to talk about a couple of things because obviously the title today is Altcoins Bounce Here. Okay, I know. Quite a controversial title. Do we sell? Do we flap? Do we punch ourselves in the face? What do we do? Now, on the screen, you can see here we have obviously dominance. Talked about it yesterday. Yearly lows, roughly February 26th February, sorry. But look at the Ethereum dominance, 18.7 there. Obviously the high, 21st, realistically at the minute. That's going to probably change pretty drastically, certainly on this website. Now, that's the thing. The fact that the Ethereum dominance has dropped so much is very interesting. I'm going to talk about Ethereum in a little bit more detail in terms of what some of the things. And I've been talking about it a few times, thinking, well, what can we put our finger on? What's happened there? And we're going to talk about pump fun as well. And ultimately, altcoins are in that situation where we're at that 4-year cycle point of that mania phase. And often you find that when liquidity is drained out of something, it always goes back in, potentially. So we need to look at that. And often the money is made during, say, alt seasons, right? Or certain situations around the market, i.e. liquidation events, right? We've already had Luna, we've had FTX, we've had C19. Obviously, stuff beyond that, before that, certain things have happened, many liquidation events. And when we talk about those, we always look at Bitcoin. Oh, wow, Bitcoin's 100K. Oh, wow, look at what happened yesterday. Bitcoin bounced from 92 to 100K very quickly. Okay. Altcoins have not had that yet. And I know, feel free if you want to comment. If you're watching the replay, comment as well what you think. Let me know what you're holding and what's been disappointing. And for me, I have some altcoins that have been disappointing. But also a tale of the past is these liquidation events do happen, things do change, and things eventually, over time, just improve. But that doesn't mean all your altcoins are going to do its thing. But when we talk about the gravity of the psychology here, fear and greed index, for example, we're at 45. We're at 39 yesterday. Pretty fearful, right? Realistically. Yearly low, 7th of September, 26 it was. Extreme greed, March the 12th, as we've already talked about before in previous ones. So let's talk about the obvious in the room. Liquidations are a big thing. People get very greedy. Piggies get slaughtered. That's usually the rhyme. Obviously, late longs and late shorts got destroyed yesterday. We've obviously slept. The Asian session has literally went, altcoins, pants down, quite literally. So we had a really good bounce, followed by then another squirt to the downside for obviously the altcoins, which gives you a point when we do the technical analysis, and we'll talk about technicals and we'll talk about some key levels. And we mentioned it yesterday in terms of some of them have made new lows. It feels like now, if you have got altcoins and you've redone your research and you've got conviction, it's probably the time to look at like being in a position. Now, obviously, the title of this video, as I've alluded to it, it's interesting talking about it. Why are you selling? Why are people selling? Why are people bearish? Why are people out the market at the lows? That doesn't compute. Leave a like if you agree with me, because why would you hold for years to then sell at the lows? Because there's a bit of uncertainty. There's a little bits of drama. And I can go back through old tweets and old stuff and old videos about certain situations what were way worse than this. We come out the other side much, much better. It's crazy, right? So let's look at Bitcoin and the volatility side of it. Over time, this metrics came out, and I like this one. It's always going to get easier and better. Eventually, altcoins will be the same. Not every single altcoin, but a very, very top leading altcoin will become more and more stable. You could probably argue XRP potentially, something like that. Maybe Solana as well, a couple of others. Obviously, Ethereum over the time has got that time in, but it's not been doing anything good at the moment. But the next bit of information is obviously this. We need to talk about, where did the people go? Well, pump fun. TVL of Solana and the top 125 altcoins. This is from Miles. Great bit of charting here. Now, ultimately, people are interested in meme coins. That's going to drain the liquidity out of the market, and people are no longer interested. They're interested in two things: Bitcoin, meme coins. Realistic, let's be honest. That's kind of the narratives over the last, 18 months at least. So stuff like that is mad. It's mad in itself in terms of how that has changed the narrative of the entire crypto industry. It's no longer tech. It's no longer of this, that, and the other. It's basically, can I make money quickly? Whether it is due to fatigue and boredom, whether it is because of the lunar rush and stuff like, oh, random stuff, I'm making money. It's mad, but that is literally crazy when you look at it. We're looking at certain situations around, maybe you can compare this chart in the future to the Bitcoin ecosystem, where the Bitcoin TVL essentially, with runes, with ordinals, is also probably going to do the same thing in terms of the altcoins, because people can do it on Bitcoin as well. That could be another narrative. Where's the Ethereum narrative? Well, let's talk about Ethereum, shall we? Because the worst thing that happened to Ethereum, Bitcoin is up 160% since the merge. Now, I've talked about it before. We've often brainstormed it. I've talked about it on my Patreon. By the way, there's 50% off on Patreon if you're interested. Where what happened, right? So obviously we had the merge and the change of network in September 2022, realistically, right? It promised to be, energy efficient and to make Ethereum deflationary, reducing its supply over time, with some analysts predicting it would flip Bitcoin's market cap. Now, I even said, like, Ethereum could flip the Bitcoin market cap because it's got more to it. Bitcoin's Bitcoin, Bitcoin store of value. You can't, at the time, certainly, you couldn't do smart contracts, you couldn't do all kinds of bits and bobs on it. And you'd think that the power of, like, time and more tokenization, that may well become a thing. But 2 years later, it's a different story. It really is a different story, and it's a wild story. And this is where we've got to talk about that bottoming effect. At how low can this go? Because this article it feels like an article that comes out of bottoms, where people have kind of like, oh, hold on a minute. We've gone from 21% dominance to 18% dominance to 16% dominance to 14% dominance to 12 to now 10% dominance. If we're going to the single digit dominance of Ethereum, things are going to be very, very interesting. So over the time, you talk about this sound money element reducing the Ethereum supply. And in theory, on paper, sounds great, but it just hasn't worked. But you've also got to look at the other factor. What did I mention this before? Meme coins. Where are people going? Phantom wallet. What's that on? Well, mainly Solana. What radium? Solana. How easy is it to create an ecosystem on Solana? Very easy. It's wild, isn't it? So stuff like that's important. But you've also got to remember, obviously, the compression of the fees. They've gone from stupidly priced, need a mortgage, to essentially, well, it's very, very cheap now. But it hasn't changed the overall performance of Ethereum at all, which is mad in itself. But I'm already seeing comments here. Ethereum, don't turn your back on it. It could do well. You will not lose net. Yeah, it feels like bottoming. The psychology is there. Obviously, Bitcoin, the nature of Bitcoin. We had one of the biggest liquidation events in modern history for crypto, literally 2 days ago. We talk about 6 to 8 to 10 billion, pretty much, give or take. More than FTX, more than Luna, more than coronavirus, more than probably anything else before that, obviously. And Bitcoin had a bit of a wobble, stumbled a bit, just tripped over, just a little bit of a trip. Whereas everything else has been decimated, right? What Ethereum doesn't have is the ETF to back it up. People are not interested just yet. And that's where it's interesting. Where are people interested in? Well, I told you, main house. But once the rotation happens, it will really change the narrative. So let's talk about the technicals, right? Because I think it's important. As you know, I talk about a lot of altcoins. I mainly hold a couple, not many these days. If you want me to do a video on like my overall, like my entire portfolio, let me know. I will talk about it. But let's talk about the Ethereum BTC pair. Talked about it yesterday. This big red box. That big red box is 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021 levels that we've yeah, went and retested. When we talk about this, and I know it's probably hard to see if you're on mobile, but it's a honking downtrend. Now, this is the BTC pair. Over the course of the bull market, obviously rallied and it held pretty well, held up until literally, roughly, you could argue, January 2023. And this is why I was saying to people back then, I can't see Bitcoin dominance going above 60,000 because I think Ethereum's too strong. I think Ethereum's not going to lose that much value. Boy, was I wrong, right? It just happened, obviously. So when we talk about levels like this, we are talking about a level from years ago coming right back into force, and people are selling their crypto. They're giving up with their cryptocurrency. They're giving up with Ethereum. They're giving up with whatever. That's where this video comes in, because I think the psychology is why you're doing it. If you wanted to buy Ethereum at these levels up here, why did you do it? Why would you not want to buy these levels? Now, I'm not saying buy, I'm not saying do whatever. I'm just saying, in terms of psychology of your brain, if you are heavy in altcoins, the opportunity to rotate into Bitcoin's long gone. It's gone. It's gone. So you've got a hodl. There's two situations you've got. Obviously, hodl. Let me know if you think that's the best way of doing it. Or buy the dip. Buy more. Dollar cost average down. If, let's just say, you've got an average order up here, the idea is to get it as low as you possibly can. Get your average order as low as you possibly can versus the tops. Obvious, right? People don't like that, but that's because the top and bottom of it. So when we look at the likes of Cardano, random example, melted, relief bounce, melting again. There's always going to be relief bounces. Now, these relief bounces are few and far between versus the previous cycles. Now, that's the thing that I find hard. I do. The relief bounces in altcoins are a lot lower and a lot smaller than they were in the past. That's where we get problems, but there will be one. If you buy the bottoms or buy key levels or buy levels where you think, hold on a minute, this is a bit of a dicey level, it's a bit of a capitulation kind of vibe going on, buy the fiat. Because right now, we're going into the US market opening in 45 minutes. We may well get a bounce. It may well be interesting. We'll see where things go. Likewise, with the likes of AVAX and other examples, created brand new lows and could be going lower. But ultimately, would you rather buy at the top? So would you rather buy down here because you know you bought something decent? And I'm not advocate for any of these, by the way. I'm just saying it's all psychology. There's people that are commenting. There's people that are saying it all the time, myself included. I'm just being honest in terms of my analysis in terms of the dominance. It's not the time to go balls deep in, altcoins until you see a big event. And that big event has somewhat just happened. I've been talking for months about, well, look at the total 3/BTC. Where are we at? Well, we're at really just ridiculous lows. But will that change? Yes. When will it change? Don't know. That's the thing. Got to wait for that situation. So wait for the momentum. But ultimately, if you are looking at these levels and you're thinking, you know what? I've been holding for a while. I still like it. I've done my research. Should probably just top up just a little bit. Just get that dollar cost average down a little bit more. Put the odds in your favor, because that will help. Obviously, BNB as well, another great example. Look, losing these levels. Could be going back down to 2023 levels, which we pretty much wicked into, which is mad. Even Dogecoin. Dogecoin has rallied hard and dropped a good chunk. So yeah, in terms of all these analysis, if you want more analysis, check out my Patreon. I do stuff there. If you want to learn from me as well, check out Learning Crypto, technical analysis courses and all kinds of stuff. But let's talk about the obvious in the room that people forget about. The total 3/BTC is went and retested previous levels. Now, the situation that I've been saying about for a long time is I don't want to be in this because there's no point, because we're in a downtrend, nothing's changed, and we're still in that situation. But I don't shy away from the fact that, well, if something is at a genuine key level, you should definitely consider it. There's been many YouTubers on there, on the platform and multiple places, going about altcoins saying you must buy this by February because you're going to make $155 million. Whatever random title insert here. That's where we get problems with the market, right? Realistically. And when people start talking about altcoins too much in a wrong period, you're going to find it very, very hard to keep up with it, because ultimately the time to buy is not really here. altcoins you need to hold for the conviction of the narrative and be percentage-wise in them. My overall portfolio of altcoins is about 10%. I've got, I think it's 83% of my portfolio is Bitcoin. I've got probably about 6-7% of it is essentially runes. And then, yeah, you're probably talking about 10 to 12%, give or take, random numbers that are literally altcoins. And most of those altcoins are related to Bitcoin in some way, shape, or form. Stacks, for example, which is performing terrible, by the way. And, essentially Magic Eden. Yeah. Number one DEX on Bitcoin, brand new airdrop asset. Scary thoughts, but could bounce spectacular. And if they do, you're going to notice this chart going up. So what are we waiting for? Realistically, is this chart to fly. Boom. I don't think it'll break all-time highs. By the way, I think it'll just go into this level somewhere. I think you got to look at the total market caps as well. If you look at total 3, for example, we need this to break up and go even higher. So obviously we've had a rejection realistically of the previous all-time high. Rejected, we went right, fucking zipped right into these levels realistically. We need this to fly up, and obviously we need Bitcoin dominance to go lower. It's starting to slow down a little bit, Bitcoin dominance, but we'll see where it goes. They're the combination. If you want bonus points, it'd be nice if the dollar comes down as well. Dilution. Obviously, policy change in the market would be good. Obviously, quantitative tightening into quantitative easing. And the final thing we want to see is the Russell 2000 to continue marrying up, going higher, break at the all-time high, and go into new blue sky breakouts. That's the dream team. That's the dream sheet. That's the thing. So we want this to go up. We want the dominance of Bitcoin to go down. We want the dollar to go down. We want the total 3s / BTC and the total 3 in market cap to go up, essentially. So right now we're at a point where, well, it's a crossover period, really. We're on the bubble, so to speak, where arguably we can say, well, altcoins are at extreme lows. We're at cycle lows. We're at absolute crazy lows. But the recipe for this to all happen may be in Bitcoin. The final thing to mention on this before I go to the questions is we need this to range. Pretty common, but it needs to somewhat range. Whether it ranges or not, I don't know. Whether we want it to range or not, I don't know. But we need it to go slow. Stop, basically. Let altcoins breathe. In the past, we've had these kind of, well, let's look at this one. Squirt, nothing. This was the best one, a nice tight range. This allowed altcoins to breathe. We squirted up again. We had a very loose range where we were very much wiggly wobbly, and it created not much room for altcoins to grow. Likewise, with this squirt to the upside, very messy. Mentioned it in previous videos. It looks like my 6-year-old bedroom mess. So yeah, stuff like that, very important in my opinion. I'll have a look at the chat now. Hope you're good. Hope you're not missing me too much. And I hope you like this time frame, by the way. Hopefully it helps. So who we got? My Trump coin is cooked. Cardano, Ondo, Chainlink. I don't think it'll do a 1x by the end of the week. Unless you've really bought the bottom. What do you think of all the big US based now Trump? It's weird, isn't it? When you think about, say, let's talk about it, the obvious in the room, XRP potentially, they were looking to move to Japan not too long ago. You got obviously potentially you could argue Dogecoin. Obviously, Chainlink is Chainlink really American though? Aren't the founders like from Eastern Europe? Stuff like that. It's interesting, isn't it? I don't know if the US coin's going to do any good or not. At the end of the day, we should be promoting decentralization. It doesn't matter. All cryptocurrency assets should do well anyway. Regardless of Trump, regardless of location, we've had situations where some locations don't matter at all. It's just the way it is. But I think Trump is more powerful for the stock market, personally, for like Bitcoin miners in terms of where their location is. That could be the key one. But we'll see. See how it goes. Still holding near disappointed, but mostly myself because I didn't take any profit. Yeah, I got in lucky on near. I really like the project anyways, but I took all my bags out of that now. Took a lot of profit in that March time because it was ridiculous. I made like 3x on my Bitcoin. I was like, ooh, that'll do. Far too nicely. Certainly in the market we were in. But yeah, I recently sold all of it because there was no point. There's no point keeping it. And I'm glad I did because it went right back down to entry. I wonder how much Ethereum significant value / market was due to the ridiculous fees. Yeah, I said it before. There's a lot of unanswered questions with Nia, and you got to remember, well, since the fees have buggered off, because that was always a thing. Like even in my Discord, I'd have like a little price checker for fees, and it was like, oh, I'm not sending anything by Ethereum at this time of day. Ooh, bollocks of that. I'll wait until the early morning of a certain session because it was disgusting. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see where it goes. Am I doing well if my portfolio is still 25%? It was up 125% in December. Now, I'm going to say something, and I don't want this to become arrogant, but I said this in my Patreon yesterday, certainly when we're talking about like market sit downs and stuff. If you look at your portfolio, right, and remember how battered the altcoins are, and you're still up now, just imagine what it'd be like when it bounces and we actually do get a natural, genuine alt season. Because the prior cycle to me was obviously 2017, 2018, my first one. Last one was obviously the COVID one, 2020, 2021, boom. Before that leg up happened, I was massively down. 2020, I was huge. I was like really down. Like I put a lot of my profit back in the market and I was like, woof. And that's the difference. You're still up now. And I know you're down, like you could argue you're down quite a lot versus December. But how many people in here? Feel free if anyone wants to put their portfolio amount in here. Put it, there may be people that are down like 50%. Some of my holds are down 30%, 40% currently. But my overall portfolio, I'm up a lot, right? It just depends on the averages. But you may find that, well, you're up only 25% here. What about if it's much higher in the next 6, 7, 8 months? You might be in a much better position than you think. Okay, seen it all before. HODL, yeah, seems like a key point. If you are new to the market by just Bitcoin from November to 98, it's a no-brainer. Don't give you money. Yeah, don't give you money. Don't flip out. I mean, that's another situation as well. The reality is here, we need a couple of things to happen. One, time. If you've been in Bitcoin for 4 or 5 years, you're probably laughing right now, regardless, right? But ultimately, when do you swap? When do you swap over? What do you do? Well, that's the thing. Ash, do you agree with Ben Cohen regarding quantitative easing as it needs to return for the... Yeah, I agree that we need a policy change. We need liquidity to return. So what we're seeing right now, ultimately, as we've talked about it before, situation around Ethereum, there's too many coins, arguably, and certain things have happened. The Solana ecosystem is obviously taking a lot of the weight. So I saw a meme on my Discord yesterday about like a little altcoin character with a cup, right? And imagine like 100 cups, big beakers, you can fill up all those cups. But now in this cycle, we've probably got like 2,000 beakers versus what we would have had. So water doesn't go in every single one, right? That's where we get a problem with stuff like this. There's many, many places to go on. Same with the Bitcoin ecosystem with all the runes. Like there's a lot more to play with now. Ethereum, you can argue, yeah, previous cycle we had BNB, smart chain, whatever. But money seems to be going here. And that's why a lot of those altcoins just died. So we need more liquidity, we need more returns, so to speak. Obviously, we can argue fear in the market is always going to be a key driver in that. But ultimately, if we got a lot of altcoins that are like low on dominance overall and there's less liquidity in them, once there's a bit of liquidity comes into them, they'll pop and people get interested and they'll start rhyming up again. So yeah, I do agree with that. Policy changes need to happen. Lower interest rates as well to stimulate potential borrowing or potential opportunities in the market will also obviously help. It just depends. But the narrative is very simple. People are not interested in getting rich slow in crypto still, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. 2 bags means what? AI and gaming lost 55%. Second bag, Bitcoin up. Yeah. Bitcoin up, altcoins down is, it's been that for about 3 years realistically. What else have we got here? My biggest regret is buying Rose, Glimmer, Dark. Yeah. I got out of 2 of those in decent profit. The other 2 lost a lot. But that's the thing. We were led to believe, certainly I was, in a lot of things when you look at the past. And I've mentioned it before yesterday. If I played the last cycle like this cycle like last cycle, sorry. If I was thinking down the technology route, I'd be down massive. Dude, massive. Oh, God. Don't even want to think about it. Do not want to think about it. But yeah. Anyone not yet press the like button, please do. Only 34 people liking. Come on, guys. But yeah, I hope people are enjoying these live streams. A bit different. I actually quite enjoy doing these now. Maybe in the bull market it might change. If there's like 1,000 people and I'm getting a gazillion questions, I'll probably go, no, I'm not going to do live streams anymore. I'll do it privately. Lols. If buying crypto stick to the top 10, yeah, I agree with that. I think there's just, I think personally it's time and a place. It's narrative, it's a narrative business, isn't it? Right. Let's talk about that as a comment, right? If you're sticking to the top 10, top 20, build it as like your core fabric, your foundation. When the market turns up, you can start looking at certain things that are hyped in trends and doing really well. So obviously then, if obviously on the screen here, if the Bitcoin honestly starts to fall and people start getting interested in certain narratives, you can then move some profit into things and then you can catch that kind of wave. But it's capturing them, it's capturing the entire market. People just want to buy and hold forever, and it doesn't work. And I see it all the time. Learning crypto is a great example of people coming to me in the bear market going, oh, but I bought this in like 2017. I held it. Now it's like dust. And I'm like, what do I do? Well, don't buy crap. And obviously, if it has realized profit, take profit, right? Bitcoin, crypto, whatever. You could probably argue still a very immature, fickle place. It is. And we've got a lot of leverage, a lot of, let's be honest, testosterone flying around in certain markets, and it just doesn't work out for everyone because people get absolutely destroyed. So yeah, you got to be very, very mindful of what you buy. I always say, like, just buy the obvious, and then if you want to diversify into hyped up things as they're getting hyped, or the narrative, or you see the narrative building, take a punt and just go with it. Risk management is absolutely key. So yeah, it's just all about the obvious, really, which is easy. I know no one wants to see it. Everyone just wants to go, I want to make 4x, 5x, I want to make 100x. Give us your best bets. I'll join. The people join Patreon. Like, oh, what you holding? Oh, I'll leave now. People look at me and go, oh, that's a bit boring. Oh, well. But then they don't realize I do any of it. But yeah, we'll see how things go. My portfolio's still up. Yeah, sweet. 455. That's great going, to be fair. Absolute madness. Some people are up lots, but some people are not. But as I said before in a previous question, like, if I look back on my previous cycle, I was down for quite a bit before it actually went running. Some people will be down, some people will be up. It just depends. Do you think there will be too many EVM focus layer ones? That will be probably, yeah. I think there's a lot of EVMs. There's a lot of Solana version ones, obviously now. Yeah, it works with different languages, but ultimately, like, you can't all go into one. If you've got 3 trains going down the same tunnel, you're gonna struggle, aren't you? Let's be honest. So you got to look at that. What else have we got? I'm seeing the bait in this chat. I'm not falling for it. Come on, guys. Just when everyone gives up, altcoins have a big alt season. Yeah. Whenever you sell, like last cycle for me was Matic. I saw Matic on the Indian foot. Oh, India's gonna what was it? What did they do? Ban crypto or do something with crypto? Or put like chop willies off or something daft. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna sell my Polygon. Oh well, Matic at the time, and it went on a marauding run. I don't even know what actually it went up to. I don't even know if it's on the actual. I don't know how much data we've got on Matic. No. Either way, right? It went from like fuck all to God knows what. Went stupid. Should find it really. Should we have a little look at history? Is that the old one? Will this one have the old info? Not that one. I do apologise. I want the actual old one. Give me the old one, you bastards. This one. Is it? I don't even know. I thought it went on the. I'll give up. I'll give up looking for it. I can't be bothered anymore. But yeah, basically, some people will get footed out of the bags. Basically, simple as that. Very, very easily. I should have just bought more rare. Yeah. The people will be shocked this cycle when they realize the altcoin blow off won't transpire. I think there will be a recovery bounce, but I think there'll be a lot of elements of like, oh, that didn't run. Oh, I wish I didn't buy as much of that sort of thing. But alluded to before, there's too many things. Too many shiny objects for people to invest in. Where's liquidity going to go? Going to going to come from in a global. We're not in a global depression. That's the thing. Non-farm payroll end of the week. That'll show how strong the job market is. The job market's been all right. I think there's no sign of recession just yet. Certainly when we look at it, but it may all change. Should I put more in the weekend dip and shorted? Yeah. I'm not even going to go with that question on the sourdough. You know, come on. I've lived a life. I'm not that silly. I may look it though. Trying to get me to say naughty things now. Some interesting bounties on here. Trending coins. What on earth is that? It's wild. Bitcoin is still in and around 100k. That's mad. I apologize if I'm coughing on you, by the way. I hope you don't get anything, but my whole entire household is covered in coughs right now. Not ideal. Big difference in cycles. People are missing off-chain capital. It's not the unusual on-chain. Yeah, I agree. I think good point in terms of centralized exchanges versus obviously DEXs for obvious reasons. We've obviously had last cycle was very much centralized. Now technology's changed. Things are much better. Obviously, we've got Magic Eden out there. We've got obviously Jupiter, Radium, etc. The data is interesting, but obviously centralized exchange websites such as CoinMarketCap and stuff, they don't actually track it all as well. So that's why a lot of the data in terms of the liquidations were really wrong. 2.2 billion was recorded, but ultimately we know it was a lot more than that. Way more. Did the gaming have any people shilling it before? I don't know. I've been in crypto since 2016, and even back then, people were talking about gaming. It's going to be the best thing. It fucking still isn't. It's crap. Like, they're building all these games for no reason. Do you think we need to wait for the early March weekly cycle low, or would you consider these to be early lows? I think if things are going to be boring, i.e. Bitcoin is going to be boring, waiting for the cycle low, we might get altcoin revivals or a reprieve, a bit of a breather, a bit of a catch-up. So I have talked a bit about market cycles before. I don't really follow them to the T like some YouTube channels. Obviously, I follow the narratives, obviously the obvious, the 4-year cycle. But a lot of content creators talk about, obviously, the weekly lows and be this roughly sort of range. I know people are looking at February, March, but what I'm looking at is Bitcoin going to be still? Are we going to continue ranging? If we do range, it's a tight range. What we may well see, essentially, in the bigger picture, the bigger world, is altcoins finally catch up because they've made new lows. And that might be a relief bounce. That relief bounce may not indicate a full-on blow in alt season, but it may well relieve a bit of the pressure that we've got. You may not make millions, but ultimately you may get out of jail for free. We'll see. Sort of posting the new users are on board, such as Slingshot. Yeah, I'm massively an advocate for Slingshot. I like Moonshot. There's obviously that one on Bitcoin Runes. What's the Bitcoin Runes one called? Is it Odin Fun or something like that? So the thing that would absolutely surprise me, right? Not even going to joke about this, is the fact that I could onboard like a website. Username, password. Didn't have to worry about writing down 12 letters, words, numbers, whatever, characters, which is great. So that onboarding experience is huge. And same with Learning Crypto, right? We've done a partnership with CyberDex. We're going to start trading on there soon. It's a decentralized DEX platform for futures trading, right? So in an obvious world is obviously that has Twitter integration, Discord integration, and it's very, very easy to run on Base. It just makes it easier because when people go into an exchange, like, whoa, God. So as much as Coinbase is like, oh, let's go to Coinbase, it's still quite complicated to use. So when we talk about the obvious, stuff like Slingshot, it's easy. Just crack on and go. That's why I've said to people, just give it a go. Odin Fun, as I mentioned before, there may well be very, very niche bull markets, essentially, in a nutshell. You could be talking about, the random stuff of, say, let's be honest here, Solana memes, obviously Bitcoin runes, meme coins, ordinals, whatever. They might have like little ecosystem bull markets within them, but you miss them. Look at what happened recently. What was it? Base. Base had a lot of runners. Solana had runners. Ethereum had runners. You've seen it on BNB. We've seen it on whatever else. I can't even remember now. They all have like random runners. Even XRP meme coins were flying up at one point. That's where the money might be this cycle, essentially, when we're looking at certain niche things. Not everything goes up, just individual assets on individual bits. When is the time to stop DCA and Bitcoin? Up to you, realistically. Everyone's different. P. Justin Fear not. Yeah, see this shitty football team. They've just sacked the manager after backing them with like all the players. Still waiting on an announcement of a new manager. So if anyone wants a job, there's one going. Do you think dot involvement with football game app will help? Probably not. No. We've seen many things in the top 50 have got amazing partnerships. When you look at it on terms of paper, wow, that's amazing. But most things have big, massive partnerships. It just doesn't really work out. What hardware wallet do we use? I use Tangem. No KYC and Sling. Yeah, 100%. That's a big thing. Would be what would be the catalyst for QE returning? A falling dollar, a very aggressive falling dollar probably, and people might panic a little bit, or just Trump just gets his own way. Do banks get funny using source funds from crypto as a house deposit? Is there any? I didn't have an issue when I bought this house. Put it that way. I had a few issues in terms of proof of it, but if you are doing like for me in the UK self-assessment, it's all there. You've got your income, you've got your capital gains and whatever else income. Long as you have done it all properly and it's been put through and it's an SA 302 form or something like that, it's totally fine. Like they can't dispute that. Whereas if you just plonk a load of money and go, oh, I've got this from crypto, they will ask more questions. But the UK is a bit of an iffy one right now. I mean, I bought this house nearly 18 months ago now, so just got to be mindful of that. Hello, Elite. Lots of normies last cycle were heavily on board through NFTs. Yeah, that's one situation. NFTs could be a bit of a problem. Let me just read that again, because my stream went a bit funny then. When there's money to be made, people jump through hoops to make. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the thing. Like when the hype's here, like I remember right during the coronavirus, and we had like that little reprieve of like, oh, you can go out. It was my birthday. It was my 30th birthday, and I met up with my friends. We went and sat in a beer garden. We chilled out. One of my friends was on Pancake Swap, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you?" I'm buying Safe Moon, and like, what? Like, my brain blew up. Considering I've been in the space for so long, I was content creator, I was doing all this kind of stuff, and he never once texted me, asked me. But he was there on Pancake Swap doing all kinds of weird and wonderful shit. And that's the thing. Like when I talk about like to Pancake Swap and jumping through the hurdles of that, that was a ball ache. Now it's a lot easier, like a lot easier. And even if you're in the UK and you want to do it properly, like buying Bitcoin through Strike is really easy. It's just like button clicks. Obviously, you got to do KYC, but versus the olden days, it's very easy. And that's just Bitcoin. But obviously, you got NFTs, you got people want to make money, big green dildo candles. Mental. But yeah, that's the thing, right? You can talk about so many different things, right? We could talk about altcoins, whatever, catching bids. And it's obvious, right? When things catch bids, whether we're at high dominance or low dominance or whatever, and things run, people return. Look what happened with XRP. People return to this shit. They're like, wow, amazing. One of my YouTube videos did fantastic on XRP when I talked about it. Start of last year, talked about it on my YouTube channel, right? You know, feel free to, hold on, I'll show you. It's easier to show you. You know, when we talk about, well, here we go. The world of altcoins. Let's talk about YouTube. Obviously, I like my music. I like to talk about certain things. Obviously, Traders Reality is currently live right now. But when you watch someone's video, and say you watch a video on something, right? And obviously, I was just watching Camel just before, right? You get recommended their videos again. And this is the thing, right? Everyone's got massive amount of subscribers, huge amount of subscribers, right? And that's massive in itself. But when you say, for example, Traders Reality, if you go and watch his live stream and you like it and subscribe, you will get recommended that content. It's the exact same when you're looking at other things. So if you're starting to look at tutorials on how to do things, and same on X, if you're following certain creators, you will always see it. And then when you start seeing it, you want to do it. And then when you start seeing big green candles of people making money, then you really want to do it. And then that's it, you're in. And then you're in for, well, I wouldn't say forever, because you get either destroyed or you're still here watching the live stream in a bear market, well, bearish market for the altcoins. So you got to look at that situation. Altcoins is absolutely mad, and you got to be very mindful of that. So overall, yeah, you've got to look at certain situations. Can I get my studio on here? Don't know if I can. My studio, boom. So regardless of certain things. I mentioned it before, by the way, my YouTube channel starting to grow again, which is quite wild in itself. Look, we're growing again. Yee. We're bottomed and we're growing. We're getting quite a lot. I don't know how much you can see though, because my face might be in the way, but yeah, we're growing. So yeah, the interesting things are very, very interesting. But again, I've talked about it before. When things go bananas, people watch content and people want to get involved and want to make money. Regardless of how much money you've got or how little you've got or whatever, people will always do something and they will want to buy it. It's wild, isn't it? What else have we got? My Patreon Soldier is expiring in a few months. What are the other options? Stick on Soldier. Don't. That's an old tier, so you'll pay more if you go Associate. Associate is exactly the same, it's just a different price point. The reason why I changed it is because people wanted to make like an OG section, and the easiest way to do it is have like the old people from 2021 to 2023 have a little OG section, so like you can like, yeah, sweet, I can be like, woo. Whereas everyone in red is new, and they've only been around for so long in the Patreon. That's why we did it. It was a good suggestion for a member actually. It's kind of worked out pretty well. But yeah, pricing. I wanted to make the price higher because we were getting far too many members. Basically, it was a bit too crazy. But anyways, I'm done today. I'm struggling to breathe because I'm gonna cough my guts up. I do appreciate everyone turning out. I think we've figured out the world of, hopefully, fingers crossed, the bit rate. So it's been a smoother experience. Whether we can keep it smooth or not long term, who knows? But yeah, I appreciate everyone turning out. But don't sell your shit at the bottoms. That is the biggest thing you can do right now. Just don't do it. If you want to do anything, buy. Also, make sure you leave a like. That's helpful too.